I think that's going to be distracting. I don't know. Let's get to it. Hi everyone, I'm Sandy and welcome back to my channel. Today I have a 1001 book countdown for you, and yes, I have new glasses, and yes, there is a fantastic glare on them today. So much so that I think I'm going to try taking them off. Wish me luck. I don't film a lot without my reading glasses on, but we'll see how this goes today. So, there we go. That's me without glasses. So today I have a 1001 book countdown for you where I am reading books off of the 1001 books you must read before you die list and just slowly making my way through that massive project of mine. I started my YouTube channel a couple years ago and just started documenting my journey with that list and have made a huge amount of progress since starting that project. It's been wonderful. I really made a dent in September, which was magnificent, and I am thrilled, absolutely thrilled. If you're not familiar with the 1001 Countdown, I will leave a card up here for you where you can go and check out the original video and all of the details about my massive project. But I hope you consider giving me a subscribe and sticking around and seeing how far I make it on this massive project of mine. But for today, what we will go ahead and do is put up the numbers, which are 8, 46, and 15. Every year at the beginning of the year, I pre-select 52 books with the idea of trying to get that number down to 0. Somehow having a smaller number to focus on makes me feel like I'm making more progress maybe than I am. But right now I have 15 books left of the original 52 that I selected. I did make a huge dent in September, like I said, with the 30 books in 30 days, but 15 is still quite a bit to finish in 3 months. We'll see how it goes. I don't know if this is the year for me to get to 0. I might make some changes to the numbers next year too, to make it a little bit more attainable. We'll see. But the first book that I'm going to talk about today is The Accidental by Alias Smith. This book was originally published in 2005. Alias Smith has 3 books on the countdown, including one from her seasonal quartet, which is thankfully the second book, so I don't have to read all 4. This book is very strange. It is broken up into 3 sections, not ironically called the beginning, middle, and end. It has multiple points of view in this particular book. You have the daughter, you have the son, you have the father, and the mother, always in that order, and each one gets one section in each of the beginning, middle, and end sections. And there's also an additional character who's kind of on the outside of everything, kind of causing some problems, kind of coming in and disrupting the family, sometimes very, subtly, and sometimes not so subtly. And the family is on a vacation out in the countryside. Is it in the countryside? But they're on vacation. And that's where this 5th character comes into their lives. And at times is staying with them, staying in the car outside their house. She's very odd and don't really know what is she doing there. And I have to say, I don't know if I ever really figured out why was she there? Like, what was her purpose? Like, why was she antagonizing this particular family? Why was she at times helping one of the characters and at other times not helping them? Very, very odd. I didn't mind the multiple points of view. I thought that was really interesting, though my favorite was actually the young girl. I believe her name was Astrid. She was wonderful. I loved how she was kind of going through things. I didn't necessarily like her interactions with the 5th character whose name was Amber, just because I felt very protective of this little girl and what in the world is going on. So that is kind of like the high level synopsis of this particular book. I can't say that I loved it. I would say that it was okay. There were parts of it that I was shocked by, parts of it that I was like, oh, I can't believe you went there. And parts of it that I was just like, not for me. Absolutely not for me. There's kind of, the father's kind of not a very nice character. Not sure about the mom, what's going on with mom. But overall, I would say it wasn't my favorite. I am excited to try the seasonal quartet. I think it's autumn, winter, spring, and summer. I had to remember what the 4 seasons were for a moment. I am excited to try that one. And winter is the book that's on the countdown. And then she has one other one. But jury's still out on whether or not she's going to be an author that I dig into more of. But with this book, we do get to go from 846 to 845. And it was on my 2023 list. So that number gets to go from 15 down to 14. Not too bad. Then, and I do have another book for you. The next book that I read off of the countdown, I had started a bit ago and then ended up picking it up and got sucked into it. And that book is Native Son by Richard Wright. This book was originally published in 1940 and is the only book that Richard Wright has on the 1001 book countdown, or 1001 books you must read before you die list. It is described, from what I understand, as a protest novel and has a main character whose name is Bigger Thomas. The book is broken up into 3 sections as well. This one is broken up into Fear, Flight, and Fate, though. Fear and Flight were my favorite sections, though. So in Fear, you get to just meet Bigger Thomas and his friends and his family. He lives in a one-room apartment with his mom, brother, and sister. And just right from the start, you get a real sense of their family and their family life, and how difficult their family life is. It goes on to have Bigger going out and meeting his friends. I'm not sure if you really call them necessarily friends, but people that he knows who may or may not be always up to no good. And they are on a path that I'm watching it, reading it. Sorry, I was reading it, not watching it. They are on a path that is very problematic and concerning. And Bigger has this opportunity to go on a job interview, or he can stay with his friends and potentially commit this crime. It is a really interesting kind of how Bigger gets himself in and out of that circumstance. He ends up going out and where he is hired as a chauffeur for a white family in kind of like, feels like the suburbs. I'm not entirely sure where their house was in relation to everything else going on in this book. This book was set in Chicago, and Bigger. He is offered a salary that seems to be much higher than what he could get otherwise as a chauffeur. And let's just say he makes some horrible decisions. And that's the part where I got sucked into this book. I won't say what they are, but there was a point in this book where I was reading it, hand over my mouth, gasping, going, oh my gosh. And there wasn't just one time that happened. The things that happen with Bigger and the people around him are horrendous, absolutely horrendous. And some of the decisions he makes are mind-boggling, to the point, like I said, I was shocked. I was reading with my hand over my mouth. He just digs himself deeper and deeper. Oh, it's just really difficult. And then Fate is the last section. And in that section, we really have a large conversation about kind of Bigger himself, Bigger and the Black community that he lives in. Why does this particular owner charge them 3 times more in rent than the white families in a similar housing situation? So there's a lot about kind of relations, about blacks and whites, about everything with that, set in the 1940s. It feels like this could be set today as well, though. I thought it was fascinating. I did. I can't say I understand Bigger. I can't say I understand all of his motivations and everything that he went through in this book, but I was absolutely enthralled once I got past kind of that first part of it. It's a little slow in the beginning for me, but then once we dig into Bigger and all he's doing, oh boy, there was a lot. There was just so much in this particular book, so much to really kind of dissect and dig into. But Native Son by Richard Wright, I ended up giving it, I think, 4.5 stars, because I did really like the first part of that book, the first and second part so much. Kind of fell off a little bit for me at the end, but definitely worth a read. Not an easy topic, lots going on, difficult topic, but absolutely worth a read if you want to read a nice chunky book. But it was absolutely magnificent in a lot of ways. It's not without its problems, but it was a very, very good book. But with this book, we get to go from 845 to 844, and it was on my 2023 list. So we're going from 14 down to 13. I'm happy with 13 right now. I am. I think that's as far as I've gotten this particular week. I do have this one, Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. You can see there is a bookmark in there. This is the second longest book of the books I have left. It is 500 pages and I'm about 50 or so pages in. Not too bad. Absolutely not too bad. I am pulled into the character of Pip. I think he's really fascinating. I can't wait to see what happens with him. I like how he's interacting with his sister and his sister's wife. or his sister's wife, his sister's husband, Joe, and just I'm really intrigued to see where this goes. We are now at the point where he is off in the carriage going to Havisham. I think that's how you say that name. But this is the one that I have picked up. I also have 2 books coming in from the library, which were Castle Richmond from Anthony Trollope and Loving by Henry Green. So those library books are kind of top of the queue for me. I actually have 3 library books now. So we'll see where I end up at the end of the month. But yeah, have you read The Accidental or Native Son? Really curious about that. Please leave me a comment down below. I always love hearing from you. I am not the best sometimes about responding to comments, but I am working on it. So definitely leave me a comment down below. And yeah, are you reading Great Expectations? Have you read Great Expectations? So far, I have great expectations for the book, Great Expectations. So we'll see how the rest of it goes. I'll put my glasses back on for the very last part of this. Yeah, look at that glare. That's crazy. Anyway, as always, like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, everyone, thanks. Bye.